Hello, world. Welcome to episode 53 of the Jimmy Canz Show. It is NFL playoff time. So let's discuss it a little bit real quick before we get into the playoff matchups. Because the way I'm going to do it is similar to what I did last year, where I'm going to try and project the entire playoff, not go week by week. So after week one, if I got a couple of wrong, obviously the whole thing falls apart. But hey, that's part of the fun. Um, Before I get into it, though, like I said, I'll just recap, kind of how things shook out compared to my last um, NFL video with a half season recap, and how I thought things were going to shake out and how they actually shook out. So the NFC, in terms of division winners, shook out like I thought, except for the East, which again, like who was going to guess anything with that division the way it was going? Um, I had projected the Eagles, and Washington ended up taking that division at 7-9, and then the other one that I was off on is I had Arizona getting into the postseason. They stumbled a little bit down the stretch, and Chicago put things together enough to get in. Now, I do remember saying in my quarter season eval that Chicago had a shot, and then I thought that they had inconsistent quarterback play and were falling off, which is what I said at the halfway point. And then then they righted the ship, and I didn't do a 3/4 eval or anything like that. So not too bad, but that was so the NFC. Like I said, the rest of it shook out as I projected, with New Orleans winning their division, and Tampa getting a wild card, and the Seahawks winning that division, and the Rams getting a wild card, and then the North, Green Bay won that division, and is the top seed out of the NFC. So on the AFC side, actually everything shook out the way I said. Um, I projected, the Chiefs to win their division, which they did, and are the top seed out of the AFC. I projected the Titans to win that division, and they did. I said the Colts were probably likely to get a wild card, which they did. The North, I said Pittsburgh would win it, and both Baltimore and Cleveland would come out as wild cards, which happened. And then the East, I said Buffalo was going to win, and that is how the AFC shook out. So let's get into the actual opening, the wild card round of the playoffs, like I said. And then, like I said, I'll do the divisional rounds based on what I'm saying, and championship rounds and the Super Bowl. So we'll see how right I happen to be. So out of the gate, you'll have at 1 o'clock this Saturday, the Bills hosting the Colts. I'm gonna go with Buffalo in this one. This is no knock on on Indy or anything, but like Buffalo's been playing more consistent, more complete on both sides of the ball. Just to be completely transparent and honest on that one. So the 4 o'clock or 4:40 game, I should say, NFC matchup. It's the Rams at the Seahawks. This will be the third time these teams have seen each other this season. Division opponents seeing each other in the postseason. It's in Seattle. I mean, if it was in LA, I would probably lean on them, but since it's in Seattle, I'm going to go with the home team again in this one. And then our last matchup on Saturday, prime time, 8:15. The Washington football team will be hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Here's where I see the road team winning. Tampa's been a more consistent, more complete football team than Washington. Washington has, played better down the stretch here a little bit, but I'd still take Tampa in this one. So that would mean that the Sunday games next, with the 1 o'clock being the Ravens at the Titans. I mean, both these teams have played pretty good football. Man, this one here is a tough one. I'm gonna go with Baltimore in this one, in a very close game. I think this will be, a 1 to 3 point game. Right down to the wire. To be honest, I wouldn't be shocked if this one went to OT. And then the 4:40 game, the Bears at the Saints. I'm going to go with the Saints in that one. They've been playing much more consistent than Chicago, and they're at home. So, and then last but not least, primetime game in the wild card round on Sunday. The Cleveland Browns, snapping the NFL's longest playoff drought, will be traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the division-winning Steelers for the second week in a row. Again, this is our second wildcard round match that is a divisional rematch. It's the third time these teams have seen each other. They split the regular season and played each other just last week, with Cleveland getting the win to make the playoffs, with Pittsburgh resting a lot of people. And now Cleveland has got, more issues going into this game with their head coach, as well as 2 other coaches testing positive for COVID, and 2 players, including their starting left guard. So, I think it'll be a pretty competitive game. And I think, from other videos that I've done and everything, you guys all know that, I am a Browns fan. I try not to be a homer when doing these things. So I'm going to be, it's been a great season for Cleveland, but I think it probably comes to an end here. I think that they can make a game of it. Will they make a game of it? I don't know. I don't know if there's just too much for them to overcome at this point with all the people that they have out, between COVID and injuries and what have you. They're pretty depleted right now. It's happening at a very bad time, but they snapped the playoff drought. They got that taste out of their mouth and everything. So it should be a pretty good year for them going into next year, I would hope. So I will say that the Steelers advance. So that would mean that the lowest AFC seed to advance would be Baltimore on these projections. So Baltimore would be taking on Kansas City. And if that happens, I would go with Kansas City, and that would mean that, the Bills would host the Steelers, and I'm going to take Buffalo in that one. And then on the NFC side, the lowest seed to advance would be Tampa, which would mean they'd be taking on Green Bay. Rodgers versus Brady. It's in Green Bay, so I will go with Green Bay on that one. And then it would be the Saints hosting the Seahawks. That could be interesting. It would be 2 13-4 teams. Breeze versus Wilson. And that's a great game. That's going to be a good matchup if it happens. I'll go New Orleans, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes the other way. It's like it's one of those coin toss games, and I'm just going to give a little bit of an edge to the home team. So that would mean the AFC Championship game would be Buffalo at Kansas City, and the NFC Championship game would be New Orleans at Green Bay. And if that happens, I'll say Kansas City advances to their second consecutive Super Bowl. And I'll say Green Bay advance. So, I think that this year, I think, because of the COVID and all the inconsistencies, like, these two teams that got that number one seed and everything kind of got it for a reason with all the crazy inconsistencies and ups and downs of the year. So I think that kind of plays out throughout. And those are the two that actually get in to the Super Bowl. So that would be, Kansas City against Green Bay in Super Bowl 45 in Tampa. I will say the Kansas City Chiefs win their second consecutive Super Bowl. So there you have it. Like I said, I could be so off on this, but this is, again, part of the fun of doing it. Give your comments and your projections down below. As always, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I hope you're doing well. Take care of one another. And as always, I'll see you when I see you.